everybody. We're going to see if this works. Figured I would start making a few videos for us to still be together, even though we can't really be together too physically right now, especially because it's raining out and we can't even practice outside today. So this is kind of a test video. Hopefully you can see me. And we'll begin in Sukhasana. Interlace your fingers and bring your arms up and drop your chin down toward your chest. And be sure to relax the diaphragm, relax the neck, relax your face as you draw the arms back and the shoulder blades into your chest. And raise your head, lower your arms, and switch the interlace of your fingers. Exhale, drop your chin toward your chest again. Then raise your head, lower your arms, interlace your fingers behind you, roll your shoulders back. If you can't interlace your fingers behind you and have straight arms, you'll go ahead and take a belt if the shoulders are feeling a little bit tight, and you can have the hands separated like this a bit, and you can still get the same effect on the shoulders. Okay, draw the arms back, too close to the wall. And go ahead and drop your chin toward your chest again. Bring the shoulders down away from the ears. See that, maybe get a little bit of movement in the neck and in the head. See that the throat is relaxed, that your tongue is relaxed. And raise your head. Interlace your fingers the other way. And go ahead, drop your chin once again. And breathe. So as you drop the chin down, you don't want to drop the chest down as well. So you want to lift up the sternum towards your chin, similar to how we do in shoulder stand. And then raise your head. Separate your hands, switch the cross in your legs. And go ahead and twist to your right and to your left. My spine is adjusting. And to the right once again. Be sure that you're not holding your breath. You want the breath to be as fluid as possible. Come forward. On your inhalations, you can lift up a little bit and lengthen so that the front body doesn't shorten. Right? You want to keep moving the sternum away from the pubic bone, because we don't want to just come over and then you end up getting an abdominal cramp. Right? So keep lengthening in the front body. And you can intermittently inhale, lift up a little bit. Exhale, go a little bit deeper. Move the breath into the back of the lungs. And then walk over to your right for Parshva. And I'm pushing a little bit with my hand, so it'll be your right hand that you're pushing with as you reach out with the left arm. So you get a nice stretch all the way through this entire side down to the hip, and down to the pelvic bone rather. Come back through center and go to the other side. Now you're pushing with your left hand and reaching out with your right hand. In addition to that, so this is reaching in this direction here, you want to go down and slightly back with your outer right hip. And then come back to center. Inhale, come on up. And stretch your legs out. Spread your toes, so Dandasana. Upavishta Konasana. You've taken class recently. Yes, I'm touching my face, but I'm in my own house, so my hands are clean. We've been working with using no hands on the floor, so if you would like to do that and transition between Dandasana and Upavishta Konasana, you can do that to get a little bit more core strength. Otherwise, if you need your hands on the floor, that's perfectly fine. Okay, back to Dandasana, Upavishta Konasana. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, come forward. And keep the life in the feet. Right? Keep spreading the feet, the toes rather. Keep your arches alive. And Parshva over to your right. You can let this buttock come up a little bit. Don't demand that it stays down because you're not going to be able to get very far. Right? So you're reaching out toward the right leg. And then reach down, not with the sitting bone, but rather with the center of the hamstrings here, like the belly of the muscle in the hamstrings. And walk back through center, go to your other side, let the sitting bone come up, let your hips move with you. This right hip, let it roll forward a little bit so that you're not causing conflict in the lower back. And then reach down with the center of the back of the thigh. Again, be aware of your breath. Come back through center. Relax your neck. And then inhale, walk up. Bring the legs together. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, come forward, Paschimottanasana. If you can't hold your feet, you can hold on to your shins. You can keep your hands by your sides here, whatever you need to do. But what we really want to do is you want to hinge from the hips. So if you look from the side, hopefully I stay in the camera here. If you look from the side, it's not too much of a movement up here, right? This part of the spine does move, but it initiates from right here, down at the hip bones. That's where we want that flexion to come from. And then when you take your arms forward, yes, we do get a little bit more round up in the middle and the upper back. So it's the difference between this and this, right? If you're doing this and the hips are not able to move, you're better off doing this. Okay, and working on pressing the back of the knees down, lengthening the hamstrings. Inhale the arms up, exhale, come forward. Take a few breaths. Let your body move with the breath. So I'm not just in a static position. And then inhale, come up. Okay. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Into Uttanasana. Have your feet a little bit wide. Release your neck. And then you can bend your legs, tuck the tailbone underneath, and roll up. Okay. So if you have a block, I think most of you have blocks. I'm not sharing this worldwide. This is just with my friends, really. So pretty sure you all have yoga blocks. Take your block between your thighs. Squeeze the block. Inhale your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale the arms down, Tadasana. There's Amelia barking. Bring your left arm up, Gomukhasana. Right arm back behind you. And I'm walking my hands together here. On this side, I'm able to clasp my fingers. right? But you see, I'm not tipping my head to the side, right? A lot of us do that. The arm will be out, you know, out here somewhere, and we want to get the ear next to the arm, and we end up like that. So better to bring your arm closer to your ear. And if you can't clasp, you can take your belt or whatever you're using and use that as an arm extender. And then release, other side. I like to externally rotate my arms in between this pose sometimes, especially for the sake of that down arm, right? To just kind of put it back in place. And then I walk that hand up. Go Mukhasana with your right arm up. Press evenly into your feet, keep squeezing the block. And release the arms. Externally rotate the arms. Garudasana, right elbow on top. You see how my hands are? Right, so I'm not doing anything funny with the fingers. Sometimes I see people kind of grabbing or whatever with their fingers. So these are the tail feathers of the eagle, and the fingers are spread. And spread the shoulder blades. Get a stretch between the shoulder blades. And then do the opposite of that. So here, let's see if I can turn around, right? So here, I'm spreading the shoulder blades. I push the arms forward a little bit. Hopefully you can see that, right? I spread, I get a stretch in here, right, in the rhomboids. And then I want to do the opposite of that. So I pull the shoulder blades toward each other, and I get more of a stretch on the deltoids here. So you can do two very different things, or many different things, with one pose, right? Different actions within the same pose. Okay, other side. Spread the shoulder blades first. Remember, we were working on protraction and retraction. So this spreading of the shoulder blades is a protraction. You're moving the shoulder blades away from the spine. And then the opposite of that, which is hard to do in this pose. The shoulder blades want to move away from the spine in Garudasana. The opposite of that is a retraction, which will give you more of a stretch on the deltoids. And then release your arms. Externally rotate the arms. Okay. And take the block out. And I'm going to turn around here. And what you can do, actually, we'll do this the fun way. Okay. Pardon the back of me. Okay, so you're going to soften your knees. You soften your knees a little bit, and you relax the arms. Let the arms be like spaghetti, like noodles, overdone noodles. Right, so I get lots of movement and freedom. Be sure you're not too close to a wall. I'm going to turn around again. So I keep myself very soft here. The knees are soft, and then I bring the hands behind. Yours may not go up that far. And then I come up to Paschima Namaskar. Okay, to come out, I bend and let the arms roll out. Okay, which is very different. Not that there's a right or a wrong way of doing, but it gives us a little bit more fluidity than this thing here, where, you know, the shoulders are rolled back and we get stuck sometimes, right? We get stuck down here or even down here. Right? I mean, it's not magic. Your shoulders have to be a little bit open in order to get this. But the body, my body anyway, seems a little bit more willing to come to Paschima Namaskar if I relax, rather than if I'm rigid. So here we go again. And you go up. Okay? Now, if you have a shoulder injury, which I know some of you do, be careful with that and use caution. And you may not want to do that fluid motion. Release. What you might want to do is to bring the arm back behind you. I'm still soft in the shoulder here. I'm not insisting that the shoulder, you know, roll back and stay there in that Tadasana position. You can get a little bit of movement here and roll the other way. And see if you can do that with the hand up a little bit. a little bit of movement, going easy and forward. Release. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. You bring behind. Having this other hand right here, it's just a reminder to keep the chest open. Okay, it's kind of a gentle reminder, like it's okay. You know, you don't have to be in this, I don't know, sort of stiff position. Let things move. I mean, my whole spine is moving at this point. My hips are moving. I can feel movement even down into my feet. And then roll forward. Okay, so that may be the Paschimma Namaskar for you, right? Depending on how much you're knitting. If you're knitting a lot, those of you sitting at home. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, come forward. Uttanasana. Deep inhalations, full exhalations. And then bend your legs, roll up. Okay. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, knees on the floor, if that's okay for you. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm letting, I don't know if you can see me. I can't really see my phone right now, so I think I'm in the screen, who knows. I'm letting the weight of my body, my lower body, help to prepare me for this, okay? If that's too much on your lower back and you need to stay activated like this with the knees off the floor, it's fine. Bring your chest through your arms. Tuck your toes underneath, back to downward dog. If you should not have your head below your heart, for whatever reason, you can do a plank pose here if you'd like. Okay, so you might do a plank pose, which is harder. It's harder to hold a plank pose. Okay, then whether you're coming from downward dog or plank pose, come to upward dog, back to downward dog. Inhale, upward dog. This time I'm going to press the tops of my feet and firm the legs. And then sit back, Adho Mukha Virasana. Come through downward dog just for a moment in order to walk forward. And inhale and come up. So I have been rounding a little bit to come up out of Uttanasana. Most recently, I think it's a little bit friendlier on the spine. Okay, then insisting that we do this kind of lever coming up, but whatever works for you. Okay. All right, I'm taking my legs wide. I put lotion on my feet before, so hopefully I don't end up in a split. Okay, so come into triangle pose on your right. Relax your abdomen, relax your jaw, your tongue, your throat. Inhale, come up. You can bend that front leg a little bit if it helps you to come up, especially if you struggle with balance. Breathe. Bend that front leg. Inhale, come up. Keep your arms up. Okay, keep the arms up, which will help the triceps to stay strong. Warrior two. Inhale, come up. Warrior two to your left. Inhale, come up. Turn your feet forward. Get a little crooked. Press hard to Padottanasana with dog pose arms. Parshva, to your right. Just like when you were doing the seated Parshva pose with the legs crossed, you're going to go back with your left pelvic bone and reach forward and diagonal with your left arm in order to get a stretch on that whole side. And you can push into the floor with your right hand. And then do second side. So you're not looking, I went a little too far if you're watching me. I went a little too far at first, and I walked all the way over to here, and then I said, well, don't do that, because that's not going to give me the optimal stretch all the way through this side. So we're not really looking for a twist or a rotation in the spine. You're just looking to lengthen, get more of a lateral stretch on your right side. Come back to center. You can come into the classic pose if you'd like. Clothing adjustment, classic pose. Head on the floor. I have to widen myself a little bit. If your Paschimottanasana went really well before and you would like to do that again, you can go ahead. Prasarita Padottanasana 2. You can hold your outer ankles to give your legs a little bit of a break. And then placing the hands on the floor again, inhale, lift your head and chest. And of course, I should have said this, if your head should not be below your heart, this will be your pose right here, okay, with the arms straight, the concave position. And then heel, toe your feet in. Do that as consciously as possible, right? So I end up in an even Uttanasana, and I bend, and I inhale, and come up. Okay, so I happen to have a wall here behind me. You may or may not, okay, depending on where your computer is or however you're watching this. I have, actually I'm going to do this side. I have my heel at the wall, and I use the wall for balance, right? I have my fingertips on the wall as I'm, reaching this leg forward. I push that heel into the wall, it'll be your left heel, and I take my arms up, and I'm squiggling that front foot out a little bit. And keeping that back heel pressing into the wall, I come into Warrior One. I personally do not look up in this pose because it will make me fall over. If you like to look up, please go ahead. And then inhale, come out. Now to come out, I like to turn the feet like that, come out a little bit more classically. Place the other heel. Take the arms up. Take as much width as you'd like to feel stable. The more narrow you go with the legs, the better your balance has to be in order to hold that. Okay, so I strongly press with my heel into the wall, I firm that back leg, and I bend the front leg. Come on up, turn that foot, and bring the legs together. Okay, so before we did Garudasana arms, right? Now we're going to do the legs. Hopefully you have a wall. If you don't, and have something next to you like a chair or something that can give you some stability, you can use that. Okay, so I have my feet just a few inches from the wall, and I have my buttocks on the wall, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend. It'll be your right leg. You cross your right leg over the left leg. So your left leg is the standing leg. Some of you may not be able to get this little foot clasp there. That's perfectly fine. You do want to bend this leg just like Utkatasana, right? You can't do it with a straight leg. It doesn't work. So you bend that leg. You cross as high over the thigh as you can. And if the leg is out here and the foot doesn't want to do that, then you just try to squeeze the shins together and you're still doing the pose. Now my buttocks is on the wall. Okay, so it's your right leg that is on top. It's going to be your left arm that's on top. You cross, and you can stay here at the wall, or if you had to hold on to something, you wouldn't do the arms, right? Or you could do one arm, right? Or if you're doing in the middle, you go ahead and balance. Okay, that was as graceful as I get. Bend your legs, put your left leg on top of your right leg, put your right arm on top of your left arm, and you're doing essentially the same thing with the legs as you're doing with the arms. There's a squeezing, there's a pressing together of the thighs, the upper arms, and the shins and the forearms. And release. Okay. Back to downward dog. Use this as a recovery pose. And then walk forward, inhale, and come up. Okay, so some of you are going to need a belt for this, so I'll show with a belt. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Okay, if you can hold your toe, you go ahead and you hold your toe, okay? If you can't reach your toe, or it makes your legs get all bent and stuff for today, you can take a belt as your arm extender. Okay, so I have my trusty wall here for balance. You can use anything, a piece of furniture, but do lift your chest. And then you'll bend the leg in, bring the leg out a few times. Can you see? I'm not moving really anything except for the leg. Okay, so the pelvis is not swinging around. I go out to the side just as much as my body will allow. My hips like to do about that much external rotation. So then I lift my chest again, and I sort of follow that line of the knee. I take the leg to the side. Turn this arm up. And it's very important that we are aware of what's going on in the pelvic floor at this point. Right, so just when you were squeezing the block, it's that same action, that lifting up, Mula Bandha, whatever you want to call it, lifting the pelvic floor. So we're not fighting against ourselves, right? We have to help ourselves in these balancing poses a bit. Okay? Notice how small I have this loop. I know I've taught this before. I have the loop small, and I'm not bending down to get my foot, because then I get stuck down here, right? And it's really hard to get up. So I bring this leg up to me, place the belt around the ball mound of the foot, and extend outward. Okay, and lift the abdomen up. I think I hear a cat trying to get into this room, scratching at the door. And then you bend your leg out to the side and back with as little movement in the pelvic bones as possible, as little movement in the standing leg as possible. You go out a few times, and then you reach out. Try not to rely on this wall too much. It's very tempting. And then you bend in, come back, and release. Okay. Vrikshasana. Let's see, you can do Vrikshasana a bunch of different ways. Okay, I have my buttocks at the wall. You can have your side to the wall. You take your arms up. And again, there's a lift in the pelvic floor. If you have Urdhva Namaskar, you go ahead and do that. And then second side. Maintain the breath. And release. Uttanasana. And then you can make your way down and come into Dandasana. I'm going to have my feet separated a little bit. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, come forward, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, come up, Janu Shirshasana. If you need to sit on support, you go ahead. I'm taking about 3 breaths per asana. You could do 5 if you want to. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come up. Bring that leg out. Okay, Ardha Matsyendrasana. So cross your left foot. You want your left foot over that way. And you bring your right leg on top here. If your leg won't go over here and it goes here, that's fine. Okay, you can go right on the inside. But if you can get that cross, that's what you do. And some of us are really tight here in the hips. So we want to avoid this sort of thing, at least for here, for now. When we're working on Padmasana, we're kind of looking for that sort of thing. But here in Ardha Matsyendrasana, you want to squeeze together this outer ankle into the thigh. So there's that, a very similar squeezing as Garudasana that you did before. And you can hug the leg and turn. The breath is a little bit shorter here because it's a compact pose. You turn your head the opposite way. But in these compact poses, you breathe where you can. You breathe into the places that you can breathe in. Okay? And then other side. Cross over if you can. This buttock is off the floor. Don't worry about that. And of course, if you need to sit on something, you do that. Okay? I squeeze together this ankle and this thigh. And I turn. Check in with your neck muscles when you're doing twists. Check in with your eyes. And see that you're not overdoing. And then turn the head the opposite way. Come back to center. Okay. So some of you are going to need a belt for this. I figured we'd capture this on video, so if you're belt challenged, you can always refer back to this. Okay, so this is the figure 8 belt. Okay, and what I do, I'm getting closer so you can see a little bit better. So I have this figure 8. And I capture my knee and my foot. And then I capture the other knee and the other foot. And then the buckle inevitably ends up in the wrong spot, so you have to navigate that. And what I do is I just turn, takes a little doing to figure that out, but you just turn the belt, so that's really where you want the buckle. And then I'm tightening. I'm not tightening too much. You won't be happy if you tighten too much. Okay, and can you see, hopefully you can, I'm gonna turn this way. Can you see that I have this belt more toward my knees than my hips? Okay, almost every time I teach this, it must be something I'm saying, but almost every time I teach this, people want to pull the belt up to their hips, and it doesn't do the same thing. This really helps to give you a better Sukhasana. All right, so I'm gonna Tolasana my way over here. That's a practice in and of itself. Okay, and then I lie down. You let the knees come up toward you a little bit so that the lower back is open. Okay, and then you just test it out. Okay, you can bring the arms overhead. Breathe. You do not want a giant arch to come to your back here, okay? It's my natural arch. You know, I have a little arch in the back. That's fine. If you do find out that you lie down and say you bring your legs in and then you go to bring your legs out and you're like, oh my God, you know, I don't know what to do. This is uncomfortable. It's horrible. So what you'll do, is hopefully you'll have some sort of a couch cushion or a bolster or something to raise the floor up for you a little bit. And this is where one would pause the video, most likely, and go and get the prop. And then this, it's like, okay, that makes things a little bit more tolerable. Right? Some of us are fine on the floor. I'm absolutely fine flat on the floor, but everybody's a little different. Okay, either bolster or no bolster, your arms are overhead, and you're breathing. And then press into the floor, make your way up. If you were flat on the floor, you might need to get a little momentum. You bring the knees in. Okay, I'll turn around again because we need to switch. So what a good idea is to loosen this up first. You loosen it up just a little bit. You still have your figure eight. You look at your legs and you switch them. Okay, get a knee and the foot. I didn't make it loose enough. Okay, and the knee and the other foot. Okay, went that way last time, I'll go this way this time. Okay, you bring the hands, sort of, I like that to put the hands underneath my hips a little bit. I roll the knees up toward me, and then I bring the legs out. Arms overhead and breathe. If you feel like, oh, it's a little too tight, you just loosen it. Right? I was a little overzealous on that side, or maybe this hip is tighter. Right? Breathe and relax. Feel your rib cage moving as you breathe. And then bring your arms by your sides, a little oomph. You go ahead and come up. And you can take your belt off. Okay, stretch your legs. And then to rest, we will take our legs up the wall. Okay, if you're not happy like that, you can certainly be flat in Shavasana. If you like to do Viparita Karani with a bolster, you can do that as well. take the legs up the wall, let the arms rest at a comfortable position. Make sure you're not all bunched up with the skin on top of the shoulders. So I take my hands and you make little, I don't know, little scoopers out of them, and you push that flesh down toward the hips so that the neck feels a little bit more free. Your neck should feel soft. You can massage it a little bit, right? Get your fingers in there. Lengthen the base of the skull away from the neck, and then rest your arms. And you can take your legs wide apart. And then bring the legs to Baddha Konasana. You can do one at a time if it's easier for you on your hips. One leg wide, one leg Baddha Konasana. You can use your hands to take the legs up once again. And focus on your breathing. Focus primarily on your exhalations. Deep inhalations will come after long exhalations. And just be with each exhale. Be with the pause that comes after the exhalation. And go inward. And if you'd like to stay in a longer Shavasana after the video ends, of course you can certainly do that. Otherwise, you can bend your legs and gently roll to your side. Push yourself up. And just have a seat. Thank you. We will meet in person again very soon, hopefully. Have a good day, everybody.